Good morning, it's Jonathan Barrett with the morning debrief. It's currently the 20th of July and the current time is 7:19. Okay, interesting night last night, very positive for equity markets. It seems to be the markets put aside some of its debt concerns and started to focus on some of the corporate earnings in the US. Corporate earnings, particularly for Amatil, were quite positive. Also, we had a little bit of a sneak preview on some of what the housing market's doing, and that was a little bit positive as well. So it looks like to me that the market sort of said, okay, debt's an issue, here we go. We've still got until the 2nd of August, particularly in the US, to see what happens. But as it stands, let's focus on some really good things. And so they decided to focus on the corporate earnings. We knew that coming into this season, corporate earnings would be a key player as to how the economy seems to be moving along. It does actually seem to be panning out okay. So anyway, so quite positive. The Dow was up. Let's just get a little bit of a snapshot as to where we are there. There we go. Across the board, give a bit of a view. And what you can really see is, I guess, there we go. Move that around a bit. Okay, here we go. Dow Jones is up 202. That's up 1.63%. The S&P was up 1.63 as well. Nasdaq was up 2.2. Over in Europe, positive night. FTSE top euro was up 35. FTSE was up 37, and the CAC was up 44, and the DAX was up 84. So all quite positive there. Closer to home, we had a relatively good night on the futures market. That's on the Cyclone. Our market was up 49 points at 4,490. Good actually to see that 4,440 level, as we mentioned in our bulletin, is in fact the bifurcation point for the market. So a little bit of a bounce there probably concludes that we are in a range for the equity market. Okay, let's have a look at some of the other things we normally look at. Just first of all, have a look at the dollar index. Here's the hour chart there. As you can see, it's working itself in a nice little pennant. This chart, this trend line down here is very important for that dollar. Move from here to here, correction nicely down. If it breaks through this level, trend resumes to the downside. And as you can see there, a lot of range in there. But we might just see it down to that 74.80 level if that is the case. I personally like to think it'll hold because I'm just suggesting US dollar perhaps stronger over the coming months. Okay, let's have a look at that Aussie. Looking at it now, in a range, top end of the range now. We had that RBA bulletin out yesterday. Expectations are perhaps not a lot on the interest rate front, but the market decided to take it higher, particularly on the back of some of that Chinese data that came out, which was relatively impressive. Okay, dollar yen very steady, 79.10. We have a position on the dollar yen at the moment, and there it is there. A little bit of an uplift, which was good. Chances are hopefully that we see it back to the top side. We are long dollars against the yen. Here's a bit of a mover on the gold. Gold came under pressure quite a bit from that 1605 level. 1607 was the high. I guess the market discounted, obviously debt's still an issue, but it's decided to say that debt is taking second seat. If it's taking second seat to the economic numbers we've had out of the States, then is there a concern for gold? Well, usual thing, and perhaps it's just some profit taking. Gold back down, hit down to that 1580, a little bit of correction. Yesterday in some of our reports, particularly in NDTV, we did mention that perhaps there's whilst the debt situation is alive, gold will trade higher. Once the debt situations are solved, which we feel they will, then there should be a kick-ass correction in gold. The question is how deep and how far, because we still have supply issues on gold to the market. Supply is down about 4% so far from Q1. So that remains a strong issue for gold, but also a very good issue for gold in order to keep it trading higher. Okay, looking at silver, obviously with one you see the correction as well, 38.99. The corrected a cent off that high of 40, quite a large fall. People know that we're not in either of those metals at the moment. Perhaps we've left something on the top side, or perhaps a little bit of hindsight in terms of some form of correction. Okay, moving on to crude. Crude strong night, 97.94. Had to be expected with those economic numbers, and as you can see, still within that range. Expectations are for it to stay in that range, 100 on the top side. Remember, 105 we feel is expensive through to 110, and likewise 90 through to 85 we feel is cheap. Copper, good strong move in copper actually. And that's we have got a small short on there, very small indeed, but it's still a small short, causing a little bit of pain. And that move there, a lot of expectations there are that mine life and weather concerns are causing a squeeze on supply. There are expectations for that to continue to trade higher, even though we've got a small short. Okay, having a look at some of the other markets, let's have a quick look at the SPY. 4,488, good bounce there, 49 points. We did mention that range, and it's in the range, so I think if anything that's quite important. And as you can see here, we have bounced off those lows, so I think expectations are for it to trade back through to the top side. I think if anything there, you could see a trade back through 4,550, even 4,600. Once again, let's see what happens. Debt issues down, no debt issues up. So I think that's the way you've got to play it. Okay, just having a quick look at some of the softs. We are long wheat, as everybody knows. Interesting though. It break to new highs, failed on those highs and reversed. As long as it stays above that 675, I'm comfortable with it. And a dip down there I think is an issue. Let's see how that trades. We are long. I'll decide whether or not I want to get in and out of that over the time. But I'll let people know via the tweet as to what I'm doing. Right, well, let's have a quick look at the economic calendar. Economic calendar at the moment. We've got consumer inflation expectations in Australia. A bit of data there. Industrial orders in Italy. Existing home sales in the States. Eurozone consumer confidence. But that's pretty much about it. I think, if anything, I think the market will focus on corporate earnings in the States. I think that's the key at the moment, and also what Obama has to say. Remember, also this weekend we've got EU ministers meeting over the sovereign debt concern. So expect that volatility to continue whilst these concerns. The market will ebb and flow between positive economic data in the States, economic earnings, and also what's happening with the debt. But rest assured, I think that the regulators understand that the US cannot default on its debt, so that certainly will raise. It's just a question of how that is paths. And that to me is one of the keys. But that's about it from me. Hope everyone has a great day, and we'll certainly talk to you later. Bye for now.